I remember when we started talking about organizing around contract negotiations, it felt like we were up against a mountain. But we decided to show up at the Metropolitan Council public meetings to make our voices heard where it mattered. We didn't just go alone. We brought our coworkers, our neighbors, friendly politicians, and our families, and we filled those council chambers. We spoke about what it was like to live paycheck to paycheck, to feel invisible, and to demand what we deserved.
I'm speaking on behalf of Hannah Gary. Hannah Gary is a planning analyst in community development. I'm sharing my experience today with the hopes that the council members and executive leadership recognize that there are people behind the contract decisions that are made. When you are arguing against increased PTO, you are arguing against people being able to take care of themselves. And when you are arguing against health insurance for interns, you are arguing in favor of taking advantage of someone and leaving them vulnerable to serious financial consequences so you can get cheaper labor. If the organization continues to show that we as a staff are not valued, we will continue to have staff leave for organizations that value them as people.
On the same day that I presented to Committee of the Whole last week, I also put in my notice at the Metropolitan Council. I'm taking another job. Part of the reason for that is I've been consistently put in situations where I'm in charge of other staff and I have not been named or compensated for it. Another reason why I'm no longer continuing my employment at the council is my experience with applying for FMLA, both when I had a brain injury, also when I had an illness, and also when I was pregnant and gave birth to my daughter. All 3 times I was met with messages from management that I should have applied for FMLA in a different way, even if I was following instructions that I found clearly posted on the website. And when I didn't understand the forms after a brain injury, I was told that I should have contacted them sooner if I knew I was expecting.
My name is Seide Communications and I live in District 7. I also work as a planning analyst in MTS and I'm an AFSCME member. I currently have an internal campaign here at the council. We're on this together. But frankly, it doesn't really feel like that right now. Not based on what I'm hearing from my colleagues on our negotiations team. Actions need to back up those words for the words to be meaningful. I also want to add that we deserve basic respect from leadership. My colleagues on our union negotiations team are being treated with flagrant disrespect during negotiation meetings, including eye-rolling from council leadership when my union representatives are speaking. If we're truly on this together, staff deserve fair and competitive contracts from a respectful process.
I'm a data scientist with MTS, and now I'm on the AFSCME bargaining team. Management is coming to the table and offering disrespectfully low wage increases. They're ignoring the inflation that we've all suffered over the last few years. They're not responding to data requests in a timely manner. They're recharacterizing the performance zone as a benefit instead of a detriment. And they're refusing to take labor relations seriously. Ask yourselves, if this is how the Met Council treats its own, how can the community expect it to be treated any differently?
My name is Jed Hansen. I'm a member of the AFSCME negotiating team, and I am a transportation planner working on the Imagine 2050 plans. Through those plans, the council has set a value. We value those in our region who inspire and motivate others for positive change. And like my colleague Heidi had mentioned, that value is expressed through goals like all our region's residents live healthy and rewarding lives with a sense of dignity and well-being. I struggle with these statements when I see how the Met Council as an employer treats its interns. I was employed as an intern for 14 months before being hired permanently. During that time, I aged off my parents' health insurance, which I was lucky enough to have in the first place. I ran into the curious circumstance where the council paid me a little too much to qualify for Minnesota Care, but not enough to afford a plan from my university or off the health insurance exchanges. I had to watch my hours to keep my income low enough to qualify for a COVID-19 era temporary expansion of one of those healthcare programs. If I wasn't lucky like that, I wouldn't have stayed at the council today, patiently waiting for that permanent hire that took months, because I have health conditions I cannot manage without insurance.
I'm Renee Pereira-Webb. I am an employee of 5 years and have been a 26-year resident of District 16. The dedicated employees here today, they don't want to be here. They feel they have to be, because it's time for the council to see and hear what's going on. We're asking you to listen to what they've told you now and hear what's happening to the dedicated employees that are responsible for completing the work of the Met Council. During negotiations, we've asked for little more than respect, a positive and supportive work environment, and a livable wage, but we've been met by opposition and apathy by your labor relations staff. We also have asked to add stillbirth to paid parental leave. We have been met with a resounding no from your labor relations staff, and I'm going to appeal to all of you. If you lost a child and you had to bury a child, is 3 days enough to be expected to come back to work? Council members, you may have been able to claim ignorance, that you didn't know what was going on, and we understand that, but as of today, that's not the case. We're asking for your actions and for your help, and we'll know that if that doesn't happen, it's not from ignorance, but from indifference.
We knew we needed more than just words. We needed action. That's when we decided to take a strike authorization vote. It wasn't an easy decision. 94% of us voted to authorize a strike. It's almost unheard of. But that vote, it was our spark. It showed our strength, our determination, and our solidarity. The media picked it up, and suddenly, everyone knew our story. We weren't just employees, we were fighters, standing together for what was right.
700 employees of the Metropolitan Council have voted to go on strike. AFSCME Local 668 says 94% of union members voted to authorize the strike. These workers represent many divisions of the Met Council, including wastewater workers, Metro Transit accident investigators, payroll, IT staff, and more. They're demanding pay raises, an end to performance-based pay, and ending the use of interns instead of hiring full-time staff. There is a 10-day cooling-off period now. We've reached out to the Met Council for a response, but we have not heard back.
When I think back, I feel a mix of exhaustion and pride. It was hard, it was long, but it was worth it. We showed what was possible when we stand together. And it wasn't just about this contract, it was about building something bigger and something stronger for all of us. Don't take any of this lightly, because it does affect people. And we never took it lightly 1 second. All of us at the table thought about who we represent and how would it affect them. So really take into heart, it's not just you. When you are making the decision, it's everybody else that you represent.